All right, what's up, everyone? It's Zach, and we're back for part two. So I'm here again with Zach Gunderson, my fellow Zach, as you all know
Taz.
now.
I'm Taz. You're
Taz,
Taz. Somebody's Taz. The
we're all
other Zach.
Taz,
Z
yeah.
O Z.
The
Yep.
other Zach. Awesome. So yeah, Zach's back for part two of the podcast. Part one. If you listened before this one, we talked a little bit about our backgrounds, our funny oldie stories and connection. Zach talked a little bit about what he's up to and how AI and the time that he signed in and went to ChatGPT for the first time kind of just like put a shift into his life. And we won't get into all the details right now because this will be we'll do a new podcast maybe a year, a couple of years from now with all that good stuff. But
Right.
Zach is um, working on his startup. So that is related to AI, but again, we're gonna keep it on the wraps for now. But definitely be prepared to hear Zach come back in a future episode once everything's all out there and
For
everything's
sure.
he's doing great things with that. But
Yeah, what Zach's not telling you is we tried version 2, and
yeah,
I was a blabbermouth and was just way too transparent with Zach and was like, I don't think you can release all that. Not that we're doing anything secret or scary, but you can't put out all your plans for your competitors,
exactly.
and we are
Yeah,
in a competitive environment. So
for sure. Yeah.
understand.
So this is take two of part two.
Yeah, maybe
But
someday the other one will drop or not. I don't know.
yeah,
But you have a great idea. I like it for staying a little bit more general, but I think on a
yeah.
really salient topic for
Hmm.
the country and the world right now. I don't know what your viewership is like and kind of what it's a little bit more spread out or more targeted, but I do
Yeah,
think this is relevant for everybody. Like the
for
world
sure.
is changing with the capabilities of AI, and we all want to know how and how it's going to
Hmm.
impact us, and what
Yep.
we need to be afraid of, and what we don't. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, spot on. I think, to my audience, and surely if anyone listening to this has their experiences or knowledge on AI, shoot me a message, comment on, anywhere I post this and let us know what your background with AI is. But I think a lot of the audience here probably is relatively in the early stages of AI. Like I've heard of it. I know what ChatGPT is. Maybe I haven't used it. Maybe I, know about like voice assistants in homes that we could use, or I go to my local McDonald's and there's less workers and there's more kiosks and stuff. So, I think that's kind of probably where a lot of my audience lies. And I think with that, a lot of folks, whether it's my audience or just people I talk to, have that fear of AI or like, why do we want to embrace this? Because it's probably going to take my job, or, I want to talk to a human at McDonald's, not, have to be frustrated when I order. Or these voice assistants. I'm not going to say the name because I have one right next to me. Is listening in on my conversations. So Zach,
It's
can you
not.
tell us a
It's
little bit
is it.
about?
Is its name isn't Perplexa? Is it Perplexa? Maybe.
Yes, yes,
Okay. All right. I hope I
yes.
didn't wake it up. It's looking
You
at
did
you.
not. No.
All right. All right. See. All right. Good.
Yeah.
No,
S-
like I look, I it's interesting to me. I have a question back for you, Zach, which
Yeah.
is you say my audience, and so the essence of what you just told me is you think your audience is not probably super sophisticated on this, and a few
If I
people
had to guess,
probably are farther than others, and it's kind of random,
sure.
right?
Yeah,
Probably depends
I would say
on
that's
their
pretty fair.
job and their personality and blah blah blah. And I think that's everyone. So if
Hmm.
we look at it and say ChatGPT, it grew faster than any other new product ever, and all this stuff. But you know what? There is most Americans still haven't used it, 80%,
Yeah.
right? Or
Hmm.
anything really like it. And but what they have used is some of the stuff you referenced, the
Right.
McDonald's kiosk. To be honest, I don't know. Is that AI? It probably is. I actually don't know for a fact.
Sure.
It's quite likely. Quite likely it is. Um, but my point is, everyone has experienced AI, whether it is opening their iPhone with their face, right, or
Yeah.
at the McDonald's kiosk, which, like I said, I don't know, but it probably has some element,
Sure.
or some kind of software. I mean, honestly, we're all it's impacting our life, and you don't realize it. The difference, the change when ChatGPT dropped, is it went to public consumption.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you could touch it; everybody could touch it,
Right.
and still a lot of people haven't touched it, or they
Right.
touched it and they don't quite. It didn't quite click for them, like the
Mm-hmm.
paradigm shift we're in,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever. Right? Like it's going to take time and lags. But that's the difference is everybody's experiencing AI, but I would challenge, are they really, do they see it, like the person ordering at the kiosk at McDonald's, which by the way, I'm like a baby boomer with technology, maybe that's
Mm-hmm.
ageist to say, but I'm terrible. I'm so bad, I'm a
Yeah.
millennial, but I'm terrible, and those kiosks drive me nuts. I hate
Right.
those things. They really do, right? And could AI make our lives better with something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Probably. Is it now? Maybe. But where is it going to be in 10 years?
Yeah.
That's when you think about, whoa,
Mm-hmm.
now we're talking about a very different environment and society we're in. When you take the trajectory and you don't even, it doesn't even have to stay at the same pace, but you make some logical adjustments and you say,
Mm-hmm.
whoa, it's going to impact us. But again, not everybody has used it. Anyway,
Right.
I'm sorry, I'm going on too long.
No, no, you're good. Yeah. I think it's interesting though, like you mentioned how people have used it in ways that they're not even, acknowledging. Like I think you mentioned like opening your iPhone with your Face ID. I didn't even think about that.
Right. I
Yeah.
didn't think about the even though here I am, Mr. I didn't think about the McDonald's kiosk as AI. I didn't,
Sure.
and I guess that was part of my challenge to it too. Is like, does your audience or does the average person see that and recognize that there's AI in that? Hey, is there? There probably is,
Yeah.
but if there is, do we notice it? Do we know that? That's
Mm-hmm.
why like AI has been around forever, not forever, but right, like it's been
Yeah.
developing. There's some huge jumps in like 2017, 2018,
Yeah.
especially 2017. But this moment is about Chat GPT. We all know it, right? It sounds silly to
Right.
say it, but that's what turned the world upside down. And it's not because of
Mm-hmm.
Chat GPT as a thing, but it is because you took this thing, this artificial intelligence,
Mm-hmm.
it's powered by, anyways. The 2017 thing is the TensorFlow, Google, but it's more about naturally interfacing with technology
Mm-hmm.
and how that changes the way we interact with technology. Like I
Right.
personally believe it means less screen time,
Okay.
for example, right? Which sounds nuts, but again, the point is it's just changing the the way we interact with it
Mm-hmm.
in ways that are so disruptive that the current way you and I think about using technology, the way playing video games on a controller or sending emails with a mouse and a keyboard, like it's a relic.
Mm-hmm.
I still send emails. Building a
Right.
company that's gonna help you, help me, help others send better emails, more humanistic emails. It's
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. Okay, we won't get into the depths, or we won't be able to post this.
Right.
But that's where the consumer is now, and that's the
Mm-hmm.
reason we're building the company that way. Because
Right.
there's just a huge swath of people that are still on email, and you've got to meet the consumer where they are. We're talking about a market, but in 3 years, 5 years, are they going to be there? I don't know. I don't know how
Right.
long it's going to take, but I am confident it's going to. The transition is going to be faster than the last transition, which was probably either the World Wide Web or you could say Web 2.0. But anyways, I
Mm-hmm.
digress. I better give it back to you before we go off. But I haven't said anything that means we have to cancel this episode yet.
There we go. We're off to a good start. Man. So Zach, it kind of sounds like from hearing you talk that like, you're not a fortune teller. Like you can't tell me the future, but it sounds like AI is going in a direction where like you kind of have to become an adopter at some point. If you aren't already, like that's what the future is going to be like. And like it's kind of like, not that if you don't buy into it or don't start getting experience with it, like you like magically die and like your life end, you know what I mean? But like
They're like,
it's kind of like
bro,
to
you
stay
have,
relevant, you
is
have
there
to
a
pick up
date? Is
on
there
it.
a Mayan calendar that says if you do not adapt to AI by a certain date, you will like your heart will explode? Wasn't that Indiana
Maybe.
Jones plotline? I think it was.
Could be, could be.
Could be.
But
No, right? Like,
yeah.
here's why I don't think that. And here's why I don't. And I'm friends with some of these guys that are making a living off this right now, to be honest.
Hmm.
And actually, I think they're smart to do it. But
Hmm.
prompting, you heard this word prompting and how you need to learn how to prompt AI? You heard this?
I don't think so.
Oh man, you really are an AI virgin, Zach. We got to bring you on the pod. And it's
Yeah.
going to be great. But
Yeah, it'll be fun.
I bet a lot of your listeners have heard this word, and I bet you're going to notice this word 3 times in your life tomorrow. I'm going to predict
Okay.
that right now. You
Okay.
should text me and be like, "Yep, there's
I
three."
will. Yeah, yeah.
Anyways, they want you to prompt engineering and prompting. All that is like AI doesn't under AI is in its infancy. AI, the way we think about it, which is natural interface, which is being
Hmm.
able to just communicate naturally with
Hmm.
technology. And
Mm.
I mean, I think about it this way: like if if I can naturally tell the technology what I want it to do, right,
Hmm.
and then it clearly can be coded to clearly communicate with the digital world, right?
Hmm.
Whatever applications are on the web, you can do anything on the web, right?
Right.
So it just follows this thing to its logical conclusion. It's not there yet. A lot of these AI agents that are trying to accomplish tasks, it's weak, it's not there. But there's an army of people and billions of dollars, maybe trillions of dollars being spent on solving these problems. And it's accelerating faster than Moore's Law. So in 5 years, 10 years, whatever you want to do with your technology, you will be able to tell it in your natural way, probably more effectively than you can tell me what you want me to do, what you want your computer to go and do for you. Now,
Hmm.
think about that and how powerful that is in your life
Yeah.
and in the life of everyone once we get to that point, right? And how
Right.
that democratizes technology and the power of
Hmm.
technology. And now, where are the markets going to go? How are people going to buy technology? How are businesses going to buy tech? It's all changing. The question
Hmm.
is how, right? And that's the IP I think I have or we have, right? Like, and I think that's what the startups who are smartly attacking the space are thinking about is, do I see where I fit into this new picture? How do I go
Right.
there without getting cut off by competitors, et cetera, et cetera? We won't make this whole pod about that, but that's the vision. That's the vision I'm building my company on. That's what, my eyes went big when I opened it and thought about the implications.
Hmm.
It's as simple as that: is we can naturally interface with technology now and think
Okay.
about how many systems and processes that changes.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Um, Zach, I have a question for you. It's, this actually comes from an example in my life that happened today. So
Hmm.
at work, I'm looking to hire a programmer.
Hmm.
And we're asking this candidate some questions about coding languages, and they say like I'm familiar with, we'll just say like Python, um, as a coding language. They're familiar with that, and we asked the question of like, well, what if you're working on a project and you're not familiar with the coding language? What if it's a language you're not familiar with? And his response was actually, this might sound silly, but I would honestly just put it in GPT and have it translated into the language that I'm familiar with or that I need to get it in, and like kind of use that as basis. So my question for you is like, as someone who my part of my living is hiring people to do a job, like does it does it hurt jobs in the sense of like what's stopping just some random person who doesn't have the qualifications? Like, what if they can't program, but could they theoretically just rely on ChatGPT to write them code for whatever I assign them to do?
Theoretically.
Hmm.
Good question. I love this. I love this example. So, a few
Yeah.
things. One, it's not ready. I don't believe. I
Okay.
is full of crap, and you should. That's a bad answer today. It's a bad answer today. It's
Sure.
right. And now, does that mean it's a bad answer or he's a bad hire? Not necessarily, because I like the forward thinking. But I don't think that you can
Yeah.
plug it in and just it's not a plug and play today. Somebody can come in here and correct me, but I think
Okay.
that somebody would struggle because it's not that seamless. Is it going
Yeah.
to get there? Probably. Like
Hmm.
I think so. How long does that take? I don't know. The curve is developing in different ways in different areas, and you would have to be so tapped into so many of them. Like it would be a full time
Yeah.
job just to, I mean, honestly. So, but it that does reflect my confidence that some approximation of what he said is probably going to be true someday. Yeah.
Sure.
Now, the other question I have then or the question I have then is like, why is that bad?
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
fair.
like the kids using a calculator at school.
Hmm. Yeah.
All right, don't use the calculator. Why? Right? And then you eventually figure out how there's parts of it that are important to learn, and if you can do some mental math, right? But then
Hmm.
parts you probably also don't need to spend like half of your childhood memorizing.
Yeah.
So like, yes, still we should do it, but how much to? And it took time for schools, and maybe they're still figuring that out, right? That's
Right.
I think what the new kind of way they're teaching kids is like more thinking about the critical thinking aspect and how they're getting to the answer more than the answer, and definitely
Hmm.
definitely moving more away from memorization. Yet they do still teach them to memorize their tables to a certain
Sure.
degree, right?
Hmm.
So that took time after the
Yeah.
calculator came out to figure out the appropriate way to train kids to like take advantage of the calculator, the spreadsheet, whatever, and yet like push forward the
Mm.
types of work that human beings are being asked to do where they're
Yeah.
adding value, right?
Hmm.
And we're in that now with writing. It's my joke sometimes that GPT is a word calculator.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, it's more than that. Like that. That's such a simplification. Make a lot of AI people mad, probably, to say that. Like even just the example you use on the coding side, but very broadly, think about that point and think about the point of how U.S. school systems adapted to the calculator
Right.
on a very micro scale. I mean, AI is such a bigger deal than that,
Yeah.
right? But just first principles, right? Think about it that way. I don't know. Does that make any sense?
It does. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because like I hadn't thought of like that calculator example. It's like I specifically remember being in school
Mhm.
and I take these math tests and the teacher's like no calculator and I'm just like that's dumb. When in my real life will I not have a calculator
Right,
at my
right.
desk?
Once you're a kid, you're like, dude, do you think this is gonna go backwards now? Like,
Yeah.
what are you dumb? Like every kid got that. You're totally right.
Right. And so like I remember having that experience, but now as I'm sitting here talking to you, I'm like I'm kind of going in that backwards thinking of like, well, shoot, like why do I want people in their job to use AI?
Right. You're like, hey, dude, I don't like your answer. You're gonna use AI. Then why wouldn't I hire you? Why wouldn't I use it? Right. Like it's a tool, and I think that's
Yeah.
my biggest passion on this. And when we talk about like AI being scary and Skynet,
Yeah.
it's like my way of belittling it. It's like every huge technological advancement in human history came with detractors and fear mongering and risks, by the way,
Sure.
right? But what did it accomplish and how much it raised the like? Did people die building the electricity grid? I actually don't like. I haven't studied that like transition as deeply as I would like to.
Sure.
I guarantee you, even though with what I just said, the answer is yes, they did, right?
Sure.
And there's
Yeah.
some fear about electricity. There's house fires and all this stuff. But now think about it truly on the macro scale. Did it or did it like not raise the level of the human experience and
Right.
probably save and extend millions of lives,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Across the globe. And now we're looking at this and we say, well, now kids can cheat on that, whatever, right? Or
Hmm.
it's gonna kill us all, or this situation wasn't great. Well, I don't know. What could it do? What could it do with cancer when you could sick it on certain systematic problems?
Sure.
I like just that's probably not even the right way to say it, but it's like advancing the human tech stack is a powerful thing.
Yeah.
All right, soapbox. I'll give my soapbox up. I'm off.
No, I appreciate it. I mean, like I think it's cool because I consider myself someone who is interested in AI and I see value in it, but I don't know much about it. So like I feel like this conversation's cool because I'm seeing value in it, but I'm also seeing like without even realizing it, like I would say I'm like a supporter of AI, but I'm hearing myself say things that are like I don't think I've embraced it, you know what I mean? Like the whole
Totally.
kind of process of it. So I think like how do we get over those fears or those anxieties that come with it? Or how do we look at AI as not like this weapon of evil, but as a tool for the potential that it can give us?
Yeah. Well, that's a good, insightful question.
Hmm.
So you've Zach, you've played with ChatGPT or some kind of consumer application of AI, right? Where you've
Yep, I
interacted with a chat or a voice to text or whatever that was able to you were able to have a natural conversation with.
yeah, I've used ChatGPT and Perplexity.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Perfect. So yeah, you had that kind of natural. And again, this is where I come back to. It's not AI. Turing in the 50s was talking about AI. AI is pretty much as old as computing. I would argue now, data scientists would cringe a little, right? So this is very broad strokes, but they also couldn't like totally attack it either. And I've had a lot of these conversations with really smart people. To some degree, computing is AI,
Okay.
or AI is computing to some degree at some level. And we have to think about it as the moment we're having here, where everybody's freaking out, is
Hmm.
because we can naturally communicate with the digital world, the capacity, the technical capacity of the digital world. But when you talk to Chat GPT, quote unquote, talk to it, right?
Hmm.
Are you having a conversation with a thing? What in your mind? What do you think is actually happening there?
Hmm. I guess in my mind, I don't know. I guess I haven't thought about it like that. I guess like I'm just
And that's
typing
what freaks
in.
people out, right? Is
Yeah.
they're like, "Wait, am I talking to the computers now? It
Yeah.
woke up."
It's like
It's like,
sentient now. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's like the jumps that people do
Yeah.
are crazy because you look at that now. Again, the technology is more advanced. You're doing neural network stuff, deep learning stuff, etc.
Hmm.
But it's still computing. It's still calculations.
Right.
And we may not fully be able to understand the scope of them, because once you train these things to code for themselves, there can be some self-replication, and there can be some scale that like we just don't understand how it's making this leap to that leap. But it doesn't mean that it's like magic and it's turned into a person.
Right.
It's just silly, right? Like honestly, I recorded a podcast today, my fifth podcast. We're new, we're not great, we're not like you. I love your interviewing skills, but
Thank you.
we were talking about this, and it's like, okay, so you want to say this thing is sentient because you don't fully understand, like the calculations go beyond what you can think.
Hmm.
You'll have better luck arguing with me that we're the same as an animal, right? And saying we're mammals, and like there's a than saying we're the same, that machines can turn sentient
Hmm.
because we can't understand all those calculations. Like, get out of here.
Right.
Get out of here. Like, I'm sorry. There is something to life and consciousness that we don't understand. Nobody understands. Religion doesn't understand it. Science doesn't. This is not. I'm not trying to be like, right. I'm not I'm not trying to be controversial with
Mm-hmm.
that. Like, we just, right? If somebody had the answer to all this, we'd have the answer, but we don't. And we think that, like, wow, now this computer is so strong that we turned it into sentience. That's freaking, it's arrogant and it's dumb. Sorry, I think it's stupid. So, okay, like, well, it's got the IQ. It's got the IQ of blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sure. What's IQ? Is it making decisions? Is it like a decisions within a calculation you made for it? Like, I don't know. It's silly. It's silly to me. So being afraid of that is silly. When you are interacting with ChatGPT,
Mm-hmm.
what that thing is doing, this is science. It's predicting the next word. It is math. It
Mm-hmm.
is trained on an insane amount of data, and it is able to predict what it should put where. That's a way oversimplification, but like honestly, that's like high level. You're not talking to anything, but it's technology able to use math and understanding of what you're looking for to
Mm-hmm.
give you the response that you need,
Okay.
given the available information. And it's just a very different way of using technology than it is to use a mouse and a
Right.
keyboard to type commands that's essentially poking at, you know. Anyway, sorry. I always go too long, but
No, it's very insightful. I really enjoy hearing your thoughts and perspectives on things. And yeah, it's interesting hearing that because I think about like, like you said, it's very um like a loose way of putting it, I guess you could say, but like it's just math and equations and formulas. That's essentially what's going on there. And I guess I didn't really realize that or even think that that was what it had to do
I,
with.
I mean, I think to people that start to fear it,
Mm-hmm.
it's like at a certain point, does it have a life of its own?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, ultimately, I think if you break the fear down, that's where it's at.
Yeah.
I think a more reasonable fear, and this is part of it too, I guess, is it's really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So in the wrong hands, it's a problem.
Sure.
That's true of any technology.
Right. I was gonna say you could argue anything in the wrong
Yeah, and
hands.
trying to stop it is a great way of letting the bad guys only get it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like giving it like, anyways, it's, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Okay. So Zach, to anyone out there that's listening who's maybe similar to me, where like the idea of AI interests you, but you have no idea, like you don't have much experience with it, maybe less experience than me, like maybe you haven't even opened up ChatGPT or like you don't know anything about it, or maybe you're listening to this and you're like, what the heck are these guys talking about? Like, what would you do? You have any advice on like how people could get introduced in a digestible kind of like
Sure.
non,
Um,
intimidating way?
Zach, can I? Yeah, I'm a weird one.
Okay.
Um, which actually might make me a better one because I'm gonna give you a really easy answer. It sounds lame, but it's true.
Okay.
Just open up ChatGPT and start talking to the thing. I just told you it's not actually talking to you, and it's not. But it's able to do some really cool stuff, and especially with recent stuff. I would pay for the plus version in a heartbeat, and I would say right now, from what I call consumer AI application, GPT is easily the simplest entry point, and it can do. You'll understand 80% of why this matters with just that.
Okay.
And I think the big thing is just don't think about or worry about trying to change the world with it. It's just like, okay, what's a problem I'm dealing with in my daily life that I want to make more efficient, or that's just a pain in my butt. I don't know. Just try to apply it to a frustrating situation you're currently in that you use technology for at least one step, which is pretty much everything we do as humans, to be
Right.
honest.
Yeah.
And pick one of those that really pisses you off. Use that technology. Think about the parts that piss you off. And I can almost guarantee you within one or two examples, almost likely the first. You're going to be like, oh, wow. Oh, that's interesting. You're going to find your own thing. So, and actually, let's do that here. So,
Mm-hmm.
Zach,
Mm-hmm.
what is the most annoying thing about technology? Let's see how many examples it takes us. If it's like 50, we'll have to edit this all out. But I'm just going to just call to ask you, like, what is something you have to do? And the computer is involved, whether it's work or personal. The computer is involved at some level, even if it's only for a short bit. But it's a process that makes you want to like
Yeah.
freaking scream. You know
Going
what I
through
mean?
emails.
Email. Oh God. Well, no, you can't pick that because that is the right answer, by the way. Because the company I'm building is going to help with that.
Sure.
Start. All right, but let's.
What else is annoying?
Okay, no. Actually, you know what? No, forget that. Let's do it. All right. So, going through emails.
Okay.
What's the problem? What's the most frustrating thing to you?
Probably just going through them. Like I went into the office today and I had like I think 46 unread emails in my inbox. Just having to go through those, see what's junk, what I need to respond to, what just needs like a sounds good versus like an actual response.
How long? What's your email inbox at now?
Uh, Probably around like when I checked out for the day, I'd probably say
Yeah.
I was still around like 9.
All right, 9 unread or 9 that you needed to respond. You probably read them, but you tabled them, right? Because
Honestly,
you need to think
read
about them
but
a little
tabled
more.
probably closer to like 16, like 9 that I haven't even touched. But I
9, okay. And
but probably
how much of
16 that
your
I've like
day?
read.
How much of your day did you spend on that? Like that, was it your whole day? On the 46 unread, you responded to some. You said no. You were in a few meetings. You
Mm-hmm.
had a lunch, whatever. But essentially, your day as a knowledge worker,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much you responded to these 35 emails,
Mm-hmm.
tabled the half of them that are stressing you out. Right? Like, am I crazy or no?
No, that's pretty accurate. You know, I was at work for 8 hours, and I tried to get done as much as I could, and that's the end of the results of the day.
And you know what? What
Well,
would you estimate your coworkers? Do you think that's like an average Monday, right?
yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. So that's kind of the point of like think about how AI could help.
Mm-hmm.
There's automation you can do with Zapier and other places to get some of that stuff just like taken care of,
Mm-hmm.
just automatically. Then there's some you can't automate. And there's some stuff that we're trying to help we're with its like tone analysis and understanding the specific recipient, et cetera. That I won't get into on
Again, yeah,
this
we won't get
pod.
too deep into it.
Yeah. You're like, whoa. I want to release this pod, right? But
Yeah.
we have a secret sauce that we're doing to help in particular. But even without what we're doing,
Uh-huh.
what Microsoft Copilot, which you'll be able to use soon, can do,
Mm-hmm.
what GPT can already do, with you can create a GPT to take some certain actions for you. If you once once you or your department or whatever your processes have adjusted to the new technology that exists,
Mm-hmm.
like half of that's gone easy.
Right. Right.
Maybe more like 90%. I mean, I really. And I think, I don't know about you. Tell me if I'm wrong, but my gut says that I don't even have to say anything more, and in your heart you kind of know. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, look, we could argue about it, we can try to get specific, but like most people that are thinking critically about the world are like, yeah.
Yeah. For
Most
sure.
of the shit I do is just moving this thing from here to here and telling this person and interfacing with this, blah, blah, blah. And like, look, that does not mean it's not valuable,
Mm-hmm.
right? But there's just huge swaths of it,
Right.
huge swaths of it that can get automated. And there are huge amounts of duplication in corporate America. And people, and especially Silicon Valley startups, by the way, which is a plug for myself as the flyover founder, but it like do not understand how much of corporate America's time is spent. Like I've done some calculations, and I won't get into this here, but I think like $8 trillion is being spent to email each other
Jeez.
in corporate America.
Mm,
If you really break down the time and think about it,
yeah.
even if you're relatively conservative, and I bet that if you think about it, you're like, no, it's not that crazy. I can get my head there pretty quick.
Yeah. Gosh.
Which is crazy.
It
And here's
is.
the thing. This is one area. I know this area well
Hmm.
because I was in corporate America. It drives me crazy. Waste like makes me batty. But it's not the only place.
Right.
It's there in manufacturing, and it's been revolutionizing manufacturing for a few decades now, and
Hmm.
it's going to continue.
Yeah.
It's in healthcare. It's in other places, right? And in some places, it's going to eliminate jobs. Some places, it's going to increase jobs. But like the ability to seamlessly automate technological processes naturally with what business leaders and experts in various industries want to execute,
Hmm.
and we as a society are no longer doing technology, but we use technology.
Right.
That changes things on a level that we don't fully yet understand, and that are going to vary by industry. But it's like a really, 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 really big deal.
Yeah. No,
Have
I
I
mean,
convinced you yet, Zach?
you have.
Todd,
Yeah.
Todd, are you in? Are you in on the AI revolution?
I am. I'm with you now. I'm with you for sure. But no, man, this was awesome, and it was great to kind of get your perspective on AI and why it's nothing that we should fear and why it's something we should embrace and see the benefits too, and just see it as a tool. So, to everyone
Tool.
listening,
Tool
that's
is the word. It's a
yes,
tool. I love it, man.
it is. Yes, I do too. So, to everyone that's listening along, Zach, where's the best places that they can check out your own podcast or follow along with what you're talking about with AI? What's like the best place to connect with you?
Sure, man. Yeah, we're figuring this out still. Full
Yep.
transparency. So I literally just as I was talking got the fifth podcast we recorded sent to me, and I need to go do the edits. But you can find us on YouTube, just like the AI podcast. Look me up. But I think for now, the biggest thing was just check my LinkedIn out.
Okay.
Zach Gunderson, ZACH,
The right way
the
to spell it.
flower founder. And check out. You can go to myubq.com also to see our current website. Although hopefully it's possible the domain could change by the time this
Okay.
drops, and I'll share it with you. But if you get this, check it out. Hopefully nothing weird is there if we've given it up and moved to the new domain. But anyways, yeah, I think the best is go to my LinkedIn. I'm going to try to stay up to date. I post mostly daily.
Yep.
Yeah, and the pod. Hopefully we're growing. So
Yeah.
lots more to come. Zach, thanks for the time.
Yeah.
And the platform.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Of course. And to everyone listening, I will put Zach's LinkedIn, website, YouTube, podcast, in the description of the episode. So go ahead and click down there. I think Zach's doing some awesome work with his business, and again, we can't go in all the depths. We couldn't go into all the depths of it, but definitely, if you follow him along on LinkedIn, you'll see all the updates, and it's a cool project to check out. And I'm special and lucky to know a little bit more than maybe the general public. So it definitely is exciting. Zach, as we wrap up, any final thoughts or message you want to give to our listeners?
Great message. We'll talk again. Hopefully, we'll host you. But
Yeah.
as I say, my sign off to our podcast, I've been saying is roots on the ground, head above the clouds. You could also say roots and vision, right? Like be grounded, be steady, have a process, but also have that view, that 10,000-foot view.
I love that. I think that's a perfect way to end it. Please, to everyone listening, keep that mindset and mentality. It'll definitely help you achieve all your goals and follow those passions. Zach, I'd be honored to be on your pod. So hopefully we can arrange that soon. And you're always welcome back on mine. So, y'all, this isn't the last time you've heard the Double Zach podcast.
The double Zach. I love it. Thank you, Zach.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, of course. All right. I'll catch you later. Take care.
Peace.
Peace.